In the latest update to Adobe Muse, we gained fantastic responsive design features, which, as many of you know, allow us to create elastic websites that adapt from desktop to mobile, from larger browsers and screen sizes to smaller browsers and screen sizes. And these features are great, and they help us with our search engine optimization since we have dedicated mobile versions of our website, and Google cares about that now. So these features are something that it's pretty mainstream now. People are taking advantage of. And in doing that, we're losing our scroll effects. We're losing our scroll motion, and we're losing our ability to have things fade in as we scroll. And a lot of people are upset about that, and I get a lot of messages asking me, what do I do about my scroll effects? What am I doing wrong? The short answer is, as of right now, the scroll effects are disabled. You cannot use them if you are creating a fluid width responsive website. So I've created a pack of icons, as many of you know, and that pack of icons has previously been the only product that I sell on museresources.com. Now I've created a pack of widgets that allow you to bring motion back into your projects. And it's called Move for Muse, and you can go to moveformuse.com and download it. And I want to give you guys a quick tour of how it works. Essentially, it allows you to do things like this, where things fade in and move and animate. And it's a suite of 7 widgets, and you can see here these 7 icons and the descriptions of these 7 widgets. So let me show you real quick what this is all about. I've already installed it, but just to show you guys, when you download it, you will get a version for Adobe Muse 2014 for those of you who are using the older version of Muse. You'll also get a version for 2015. You can import either one if you're on the latest version, but the 2015 version imports much faster into Muse 2015. Surprise. And down here you also get this beautiful guide, which is going to walk you through how to use each widget that's included and what the options are here. So that's pretty cool. So I don't have to be there in video form to explain every single step of the way, but I will explain the gist of how these widgets work, just so you guys are comfortable with it. So the idea is, if you have a text box, a graphic, or an image on your page, and you would like to bring some animation to that, bring some motion to it, you can select something. You can create a graphic style. And for those of you who don't see the graphic styles panel, you can go up to, well, if you're on a Mac, you can do a search for graphic styles under help. Or on either platform, you can go to Window and you can turn on graphic styles. So the idea is these graphic styles actually put a little bit of code in there based on the name that you choose, and then we can target that and apply an animation using one of the 7 widgets down here, which is much more automatic than it sounds. So check it out. I've got this text box selected. I'm going to create a new graphic style. And this is one of my complaints with Adobe Muse. It doesn't automatically select the new style that you've created. You've got to go and click on that yourself. A little weird. I really personally don't like that. I'm creating a style because I plan on using it, and Muse doesn't seem to work that way. So now I'm going to give this a name. I'm going to say header text. And I'm deliberately making this all lowercase with no spaces. That'll make my life easier. When you do have spaces, they get replaced with hyphens in the code. Just keep it clean. Use all lowercase letters. And don't bother with spaces. It's gonna get too weird. So now that I've got my header text graphic style selected, I can go and I can choose one of the widgets depending on what my goal is here. So I would like for this to appear when the page loads. Not on scroll because it's at the top of the page. I'd like it to appear automatically and relatively immediately when the page loads. So I'm going to drag this widget onto the page. And one of the nice things about these widgets is it shows the name of the widget that you're using in the box, and it also shows the style name that you've applied in the box, because you might be using a bunch of these on your page, and I thought it would be nice to be able to tell them apart. So I'm going to go in here, and the first thing I need to do is just put the same name in there, header text. Because if it doesn't have the same name, then it's not going to be able to find that text box there, because the goal of this is to allow you to attack and animate just about any text box, image, or graphic on the page. So now I'm going to choose an animation style. I would like for this to fade in and up, I think. And the duration, I'll speed it up. I'll make it a little bit quicker at 1.5 seconds. And I don't want a delay. I want this to happen as soon as the page loads. So now I'm going to preview this in the browser. I'm just going to do Shift-Command-E, which I believe is Shift-Control-E if you're on a PC. And when it opens up in the browser, when the page finishes loading, it's going to trigger my animation. So there we go. Did you guys see that fade up and in? I can refresh this and do it again. and you can see that fades up and in. Very beautiful, very smooth animation. And I can also scale my window to a breakpoint, and at the breakpoint you can see that it does it again on the mobile breakpoint. So it is fully compatible with responsive, and you can see that if I scale it as the animation is taking place, the responsive nature of the text box is still what it would be without the animation, even though the animation is going on. So it's really flexible. It's really nice. So the next thing I want to do, I want to add another one. I'm going to do another appear on page load. And you can put these wherever you want. The code's going to go in the right place, so you don't have to worry about positioning one after the other, etc., etc. Now for this one, I've got this video down here, and this video is actually a Vimeo widget. I've actually pasted a Vimeo widget in here. And because Vimeo uses what's called an iframe, these animations actually work on that too, which was not intended. It's intended to work on images, graphics, and text. So using this widget here, I can apply a graphic style, and I can name this, I'll just say Vimeo. And I'll go back up here, and I'll choose my second widget that I dropped in. I'll give it that style name of Vimeo, and I'm just going to have this one fade in. I don't want it to do anything crazy. It's kind of a big object, so I'm just going to have it fade in. And I will give this a delay. I'll give it a half-second delay so it happens after the first thing, but it'll be still overlapping because the text up here is going on for 1.5 seconds, and half a second through that, it's going to begin this. So a third of the way through this animation is going to start this one. Not that it matters. You don't have to think about math really when you're doing this. And I'll just do a duration of 1 second. We'll keep it quick. So let me preview this in the browser. The text should fade in and up, and then the video below should fade in immediately after. There we go. Very nice. Elegant, brings your attention to it, makes you wonder what's going on down here. If people tend to skip over your videos, that might help sort of wake them up and say, hey, there's a video here. There's something here. Please come look at it. Please come click on it. So that's really useful. So I'm going to keep scrolling down because I do have a few more objects down here. I have these iPhones, and I've got my screen resolution turned down so it's easier for you guys to see what's going on the screen. But I don't think I want these to be so huge. Let's make these a little smaller. Just real quick. I didn't quite anticipate that the images would be so big at this screen resolution. Okay, cool. So just for the sake of example, I've shrunk these down so they fit on this screen resolution. So now that I've got these already pre-populated with these graphic style names over here, I can go and drop in the widgets. So I'm sort of skipping a step. But don't forget to apply a graphic style, so that way you have a name to target in the widget itself. So now I'm going to do appear on scroll. I would like for these to appear when we reach them on the page, like as we're scrolling down. Because if we do this on page load, guess what? The page load's at the top. We're not going to see this happen if we do it on page load, so we have to trigger it on scroll. So I'm going to choose, for the first part here, phone from left, because that's the name of one of them. And if you forget, just glance over at your graphic styles panel. You don't have to memorize the names of all these things because I would be in big trouble. I can't remember what I had for breakfast. So animation style, since this is the iPhone from the left, I'm going to choose fade in left. I'm also going to option drag this widget to create a second one. And I'm going to click on the little blue triangle here, and I'm going to change the name of this to fade from right and change the style to fade in right. Cool. So duration 2 seconds. That's a little on the slow side, but I'm going to leave it there so it's easier to see. And then position offset, that allows me to determine if this happens immediately when the bottom of the graphics reach the bottom of the browser as we're scrolling, or if I want it to happen a little bit higher up. So 20 means 20 pixels higher than the bottom of the browser is when these are going to show up. So they'll be more centered in the screen. So let's preview this in the browser. See where we've ended up, make sure my spelling's good and that it's all working. So those look good. Get to scroll down, and boom, there we go. Those emerge from behind this iPhone here. I'm going to refresh and show you that again. So when you hit refresh, at least in Safari on a Mac, it respects your scroll position. It assumes that you're refreshing because of some kind of problem or because you're trying to update content, and it keeps you scrolled down to the same spot. So you'll find that it's happening for me, it appears that it's happening on page load, but if I go up and refresh again, it did happen when we scrolled down to it. So see how I'm not there yet? They're not showing up yet. They're not showing up yet. and then when I reach them, boom, that animation takes place. So it's a really beautiful way to call attention to something. And there are 45 effects total between the appearance transitions and the animate effects. So let's apply an animate effect down here to call attention to this call to action button here. And I've already got a style applied. CTA button is applied to this button. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to choose to animate this on a timed loop. I don't want it to just happen once. I want it to happen over and over and over again until someone clicks on get it now, because I'm trying to get their attention on that button, and if I don't have it, I'm going to try again. It's not too annoying because these effects are pretty subtle and elegant. Some of them are more obnoxious than others. So now that I've got this dropped in, I'm going to do the usual. I'm going to give this the name of the graphic style, CTA button in this case, and these animation styles here, I'm going to choose Tada. Tada's a cute one. I like that. And the delay is going to be the delay between each instance of this looping over and over and over again. So is it going to happen again and again and again really fast, or is it going to happen and then wait and then happen and then wait? So I've got a 4-second delay here. For the sake of example, I'm going to reduce that to a 2-second delay so we can see it happen more times in a shorter period of time, just for video's sake. And the duration is going to be the duration of the effect itself. I'm going to do a 1-second tada, so it's nice and obvious. If it's too quick, it might look a little strange. So let's preview this in the browser, and I'll scroll all the way down to there. We'll skip over the other stuff. Here we go. I'm going to scroll all the way down, and there it is. So there's the tada effect. And if we wait 2 seconds, there it is again. Wait 2 seconds, there it is again, because that is how we set our settings. So it's pretty cool. It's calling attention to itself, and I've also got a rollover on there, and the rollover that I've created in Muse still works, even during the animation. So, I mean, this is really flexible and really, really usable. So don't forget, it's also responsive, and this effect, I've tested it on mobile. It looks beautiful on mobile, and it's really, really cool being able to see your designs come to life. Now, this site isn't perfect in terms of its responsive nature, but you can see that even when I reach that mobile breakpoint, it works, and it works exactly the same way. And if you have graphics and images that scale, even though they're scaling, the animation is applied to their updated scale. So actually, let's look at the phones here, because I think the phones... No, I don't have those phones behaving responsibly. But if you do have objects that are scaling responsibly, the scroll effects do apply the same way, just like they did to that text box that we looked at the very beginning. So this is the idea. We've got these 7 widgets here to choose from. They're created from really light code, so they're not going to bog down your page load times. The ones that begin on page load begin after the page finishes loading, so that should encourage you to work on your page load times. You don't want your pages taking forever to load because your animations won't trigger, and because it lowers your search rank on Google, and because users tend to leave when your page loads slowly. So under no circumstances should you guys be designing pages that load slowly. So there's that. So hopefully you guys enjoy these widgets. Go to moveformuse.com, go get the widgets, start dropping them into your designs, and start making your responsive designs move again. Get the animation back, and start engaging users on scroll, on page load, and also, of course, I didn't cover this, but on rollover, you can trigger some of these animations on rollover. So hopefully you guys enjoy this. I've got more cool stuff coming soon. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and enjoy the widgets.